What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I want to talk about preparation for the next DLC, Warmind. So I want to simply list the multiple ways that you can increase the speed to acquire new gear, maximum power level gear, and all of those kind of things, if that's what you want to do. But firstly, should you do it? Well, like I said, it depends on if you really want to. This video isn't me instructing anybody to rush the content. Obviously, we're going to have to wait over 3 months until we get the September expansion, so there isn't a huge need to rush. Some folks enjoy to do it. Equally, some people don't want to do it. Either way, it's fair enough. Let me know what you guys are going to do in the comment section below. But now let's get into a few things to bear in mind going forward if you do want the best chance to upgrade your gear, get new gear, and get to that higher power level quickly. So let's talk about exotics and engrams in general. Firstly, is it worth you saving exotic engrams or engrams at all? Well, from my experience with Curse of Osiris and from what I see a lot of other players say, it doesn't appear to actually work. I filled all of my characters with exotics, but when the update dropped, there was no new loot and all of the stuff was capped at 305 still from before the update. So personally, I don't think there are any benefits to saving engrams, but nothing is guaranteed. If you don't have any real reason to open them now, I guess you can always save them and see what happens. On the front of Eververse engrams though, in Season 2, they changed the Bright engram to the Luminous engram, which meant that you couldn't actually get any of the new stuff from holding older Eververse engrams. So it seems likely that this will be the case once again going into Season 3. But what you can do, of course, is save your Bright Dust to actually use it for purchases in the Eververse store if you want any of the Season 3 stuff. I don't have all that much Bright Dust personally, but you do get a lot from breaking down exotic sparrows or ghosts that you don't need. Also, legendary ones will give you just a bit less dust, and of course shaders are a decent source of bright dust if you can bring yourself to sit and delete them all. But now let's move on to materials in general. So of course, having loads of weapon parts and legendary shards is great. The more you have, the better. Pretty self-explanatory. Gunsmith is going to be a great source of new gear, as well as Masterworks and higher level gear. But in terms of when to turn these kind of materials in, I would wait until you finish the campaign side of things, and even wait until you hit any new XP rank caps or base character levels. Of course, in Curse of Osiris, we went from character level 20 to 25, so we could go to 30 or higher this time around, depending on what Bungie do. So personally, I would wait to hit that top rank before worrying too much about getting higher level gear. And it's kind of the same with milestone engram drops once the DLC is here. I would wait until later on in the first week when you're a little bit higher level. You might be approaching the level cap for the DLC. You might be a little bit further back, but of course, with the powerful gear in general being such a good source of much higher level gear, it's totally worth waiting until you've made a little bit more progress. But now let's talk about other materials and things worth saving. So one of the number one things worth stockpiling for Masterwork Exotics, of course, is going to be Masterwork cores. So we're going to see exotic weapon Masterworks come into the game. We're not entirely sure of all of the benefits yet. Equally, we don't know how much they will cost to upgrade. It could be the same as a legendary. It could cost twice as much. So it's worth saving any that you have now. In terms of sources for Masterworks though, raids and prestige raids in particular will generate a lot of Masterwork drops. Outside of that though, things like trials or vendors or planetary NPCs can drop a lot of Masterworks. So again, having plenty of materials or tokens for different vendors is going to help. I would, however, save any of this stuff that you have until after the update drops, because on top of dropping Masterworks, you can also potentially get new DLC gear with these materials after the update. So now let's talk about tokens, everybody's favorite. So generally, there are going to be some new weapons and gear in the pool of rewards, especially for Vanguard and Crucible. It's going to be worth holding on to some tokens because, of course, you do have the leveling factor and the new gear, but there will also be introducing seasonal vendor ranks with rewards that come from specific ranks. So this will be a rank that you hit inside of a particular season, and presumably will still be contributing via the token system. So it's possible you'll be able to get a head start on some of these seasonal ranks for the vendors, and Vanguard and Crucible as well as Rally factions are the most likely to be getting seasonal ranks if I had to guess. A couple of other areas where it's worth considering holding on to tokens: Trials of the Nine. So of course, with Season 2 back in December, there was an infusion of new Trials weapons as well as ornaments, and we saw popular new weapons like Darkest Before and Purpose added to the game. These are weapons that a lot of people wanted to go after even if they didn't play all that much Trials. So if you save a bunch of tokens for Trials before Season 4, you can hold on to them, and it'll help especially especially if you aren't a huge fan of Trials, you know, and you don't want to play it too much after the DLC drops. You can play just one game if necessary after the DLC, go in and use all the tokens you've saved, and you've got a pretty decent chance of getting new gear as well as Masterworks from the Trials vendor. They do tend to drop a lot. The final one I really want to talk about with tokens is Iron Banner. So of course, 6v6 Iron Banner is actually coming this week in Destiny. A lot of us have got most of the loot. I don't think many of us will be spending tons of tokens necessarily. So if you are playing Iron Banner this week, it's worth remembering that the tokens don't actually disappear between events. They didn't previously disappear between Season 1 and 2. So I think it's going to be worth holding on to any that you have. You know, Saladin may have a new weapon for sale in the first Iron Banner of Season 3, and you'd technically be able to buy it immediately, which is pretty awesome if you want to do that. As far as all of the other planetary tokens, they can help with leveling, possibly some new gear, but they're almost certainly going to be less valuable than the other tokens, with the exception of Masterworks, which drop fairly regularly. So that's the boring material stuff kind of out the way. I think Vanguard and Crucible, as well as Trials and Iron Banner tokens, are going to be some of the most valuable ones to actually hold on to. But a couple of other areas that might be worth exploring would actually be, firstly, Cades treasure maps, so you can collect as many of these as you want and actually hold them in your inventory, and then wait to hunt them down later after the DLC. Of course, you aren't guaranteed great loot from Cades chests in general, but they are pretty quick to pick up, and you can get exotics as well as those few faction weapons which actually come at competitive power levels as well, and by the time the DLC comes you could have, what, 2 or 3 weeks of maps actually there. A couple of my pals before Curse of Osiris dropped actually held on to some of these treasure maps, and they did get, you know, at least a couple of exotics dropped pretty easily after the DLC. Another one is going to be Clan Engrams. Now these can be worth saving because they stack multiple times, and the power level always climbs with these Clan Engrams. So as long as they stay at Hawthorne, in the past they've continued to climb in power level, so you could actually have them unlocked one day, hold on to them for a week, and every time you look at them, depending on your power level, they will change. So you can even keep them right now and then open them after the first few days of the DLC, because once again they are powerful gear, so they're just like additional milestones for the week. And a couple of other shouts, I would say grab some 3 of coins from Xur if you have the chance. Also Fireteam medallions. Now I know that the 3 of coins are pretty poop, however they cost almost nothing, and who knows, you could yield some results from actually having these. Also bear in mind that Xur won't be around for a few days after the DLC drops. Fireteam medallions are kind of self-explanatory. They'll help you level up, help you get more stuff. And a final note I would mention would be to stockpile mods. So saving mods or components for the next DLC to upgrade any new gear that you might get without mods could be pretty useful. It might not be the biggest deal to everybody, so it's your preference. However, bear in mind that you may need some mods to add that extra 5 power levels to some gear. Also, if you see Banshee selling kinetic weapon mods, it's totally worth saving some of those for your kinetic primaries, because they aren't the easiest to come by if he isn't actually selling them. Otherwise though, I think in terms of preparation, if you're playing right now and you do want to get that bit of a head start for the DLC, I think this is most of the stuff that you really need to think about. If I've forgotten anything, let me know in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure that's just about everything that you could do if you do want to get that prep in. So I hope you guys have found the video interesting or useful anyway. If you have, a like is very much appreciated below. Let me know any tips you have for other folks, or whether you're just going to jump in blind, whether you're grinding like crazy to get as many materials as you can before May 8th. Before I finish the video, be sure to check out my sponsor Gamerlink if you want an awesome clan and LFG app on Android and iOS. Destiny 2 is actually featured on the app. You can use it to find games inside of Nightfalls, raids, trials. More importantly though, it has really good clan features, so if you want to build a persistent team and actually use the app to keep in touch, you can do all of that stuff. Plus, if you use my referral link below, you will unlock an awesome Houndish badge for your profile on the app. So be sure to check that out if you like. For now though, I appreciate you guys watching as always. If any of you are new around here, feel free to hit that subscribe button to see more Destiny 2 content. For now though, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon.